Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. Great article here from Business Wire. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So, T-Mobile is I would say, in a really, really, really good position and spot. And the reason I say that, for those of you who watched the videos where I said Verizon and AT&T need to fight back, they really do, because T-Mobile is now in a really, really solid position. So, and what T-Mobile is doing, all they're doing is they're just setting themselves up for the future. All the moves that we've seen T-Mobile make in recent times is showing us how they plan to move into the future. And that's where AT&T and Verizon have issues. And I've heard this from internal sources at both companies, that they have a problem with T-Mobile because they're setting the standard now. So for those of you who remember Capital Markets Day in October of last year, T-Mobile unveiled AI RAN with NVIDIA, and they're doing some stuff with AI with OpenAI, right? So we really haven't heard Verizon and AT&T talk much about AI RAN. So again, T-Mobile is setting a standard there. Will Verizon and AT&T follow that standard? That remains to be seen. But T-Mobile is setting a standard with AI RAN, and they're going to patent that technology. And they're working on that with Ericsson and Nokia, and I believe there's and then of course NVIDIA. That's the third partner. Right? So they were able to set the standard, if you will, for 5G with the mid-band and putting that on the SA core, and now the slicing, right? They're setting the standard there. Next, the Starlink announcement. And that has the other carriers very furious, because T-Mobile is setting the standard and they're able to set the pricing now. They're the first ones to launch this. No one else is in a position or ready to launch anything to compete with that offer, right? AST is not ready. Verizon is trying to do the texting thing with Skylo, I believe it was, but none of it is really ready for prime time, right? So T-Mobile has started the beta, they're scaling the beta, and they launch officially in July commercially, and we have a price point. Right? It's $10 if you sign up now, $15 at launch, and then $20 if you're a Verizon and AT&T customer. So again, T-Mobile is setting the standard because they were first to a lot of these moves. They were first to 5G, first to SA. They were the first to announce satellite. Up until the AST announcement, Verizon was like, we don't really need satellite. For those of you who remember that. And once again, now with the first responders, right, with the slicing, the core, and everything else, with the storytelling and the marketing, it feels like T-Mobile is setting the standard again. And that's where I'm telling you right now, AT&T and Verizon, they have an issue with that. And that's why I made those videos. They need to fight back. They need to fight back. And I'm not saying start a price war. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying they need to fight back, because T-Mobile is setting the standard. And the way that it's going, right, that they're already into 5G advanced. The way that this is going, T-Mobile should be first to 6G. They're probably going to set the standard for that too, whatever that standard may be. Right, from a radio panel perspective, how does the 6G densification look like? What spectrum will we even have for that? Is it going to be 7G, right? Whatever the case. But how far ahead T-Mobile is with the radios and the NR deployments, right? They should be first to 6G. So AT&T and Verizon, they really need to figure this out. Because pretty soon here, T-Mobile is going to really have perception on their side. It's not going to take them much longer. They said they're already ahead on, for those of you who remember, they're already ahead on perception above AT&T, and they are closing that gap to Verizon very quickly. So as they do more storytelling, like they just did for the first responders, as they bring that and other announcements, telling you the perception, they're gonna be ahead at some point. I don't know if it's this year or next year, but the perception is gonna favor T-Mobile eventually. It's gonna happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So they're setting the standards. It's just some people are against the technology, or against the standard that T-Mobile is setting, right? They're saying it's not right. They don't believe in T-Mobile. I've heard that all day long, but until Verizon and AT&T wake up and they start telling their own stories, they start bringing the right marketing, T-Mobile this is going to be like taking candy from a baby for T-Mobile. This is easy for them. I mean, now that it's getting really competitive, now that you have to, really put your networks up against each other, and now that T-Mobile has the backing of Starlink and everything else, ending dead zones, T-Mobile really ain't stopping now. The whole saying, we won't stop, they're really not going to stop now. They've invested a ton of money, right? They got the Rule footprint now that's respectable. It's not the best. I've said this before. It's not the largest, but their Rule footprint is respectable now. If they can get another year or two of native deployments with towers, right, and then the Starlink, if that works really well, they ain't stopping. They're gonna continue to tell a story that you've never heard before. They're going to continue to go after agencies. They're going to go after enterprise. I mean, I don't want to say that Verizon and AT&T are asleep at the wheel, but man, it's going to be tough for them moving forward from a competitive business perspective. It's going to be tough, especially now that T-Mobile, they are undercutting on price. We've acknowledged that. T-Mobile themselves acknowledged that at this event. And they have the better balance sheet to do that. So they have no problems with doing that. So it's going to get very interesting moving forward. T-Mobile is showing us the future. They're telling us about the future that they're creating. And it's AI driven, AI ran. We heard about that. T-Life, right? 100% of upgrades done through T-Life. That's already nationwide now. Store reps have to help you or talk you through how to upgrade on T-Life. That's a thing. And now, we have the Starlink, which is going to end all dead zones. And then we have first responders now that T-Mobile is making it sound like through their storytelling that they're setting the standard for all new capabilities that first responders may want to use in the future. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. See y'all in the next one. Peace.